I'm a bit late. I'm always a bit late. So, yeah, I guess we can start. Some people are getting coffee and snacks, but we should get going because I would like to tell you more about our Analogue facility. And I was thinking how to approach that because there's so many things to unpack. I decided to go in the direction of telling you how it is to run an Analogue facility, what are our hopes, plans, and, well, maybe some problems as well. And I guess I need to start with myself. My name is Leszek Ozerchowski. I'm an architect, space architect wannabe. Before starting Analogue facility, me and my team, Spaces More, did many reports on human spaceflight or mission architecture, proposals for Moon, Mars, and etc. And after some time, we decided that we would like to have this facility to test our ideas, to test for ourselves how a mission could look like, or how the healthy space should look like for astronauts. And this is why we decided to create an Analogue facility. First, we created a facility called Mars. I don't remember the exact full name of that facility, but we designed a modular structure, and after a few months we had to change place and the design completely, but we had those modules that we already paid for design for a different facility. And we had to move to a former military airfield in a city of Piła in Poland. It's in western Poland, where we found those, those bunkers or hangars that previously hosted a Su-22s. That's an interesting thing. We are at the wrong side of the history back then when this airport was operational. So we were part of the Warsaw Pact, and the only reason this airport was there was to, in case of World War III, was to start two bombers and nuke Copenhagen. So now we are using it for a different purpose, a scientific one, and also, well, yeah. Normally I'm telling that to our crews. Nowadays, with the new geopolitical position and situation, I tend not to tell them what was the purpose of this facility. But this new piece of facility, the hangar, allow us to create an EVA area, so a huge space where we could train and do research in extravehicular activity. And I guess I need to tell you something about our team as well, before I go into details how the station looks like. So there's really a handful of us. Here we can see 6 people. I guess there's 2 more. I am facility manager or director, and the other person that is running that with me is Agata Mintis. She is currently in Austria at Austrian Space Forum conference. She was just presenting the same slides there. Well, not the same slides. We are in the Mexican standoff. Who will finish the slides first? No one shared their slides. We had to do it twice. But you're both architects. So you can imagine that this facility is for us to test how to design a healthy space for isolation. But we have also biotech researchers. We have our flight surgeon, Dr. Aleksander Waśniowski. He is a very experienced flight surgeon and a telemedicine specialist. So he's basically scanning everyone's minds with MRI during missions. We have Agnieszka Skorupa, a psychological researcher from Silesian University. And normally she was investigating people in Arctic. But having this opportunity to have new crews, 6 people isolated for 2 weeks, almost every month, created a new research possibilities. Because if you think about Analogue missions that happen once a year, which is wonderful for preparing a very large amount of experiments and data, you will still, they will still gather data from only 6 participants during this short duration. Here, we are trying to get as much data as possible from multiple crews along throughout the year, having the same conditions, so the same lighting conditions, the same environmental conditions, and we are trying to get statistics done. So in-depth studies are great. This is what Analogue missions do, but this facility allows us to also go with statistics. So that's the main reason we are doing that. Also, there is our chief technician, is Zdzisław, the only person that is in Piła when the mission is happening, because he is a citizen and he built those hangars when he was young. So he really knows all the crooks and crannies of the airport. Also, he's a technician of Su-22nd, so he also knows his electronical stuff. All right, let's go further. So yeah, everyone started with, okay, I'm an Analogue astronaut, or we are doing Analogue missions. And for normally, we always, everyone is commenting, oh, we know what Analogue mission is. But in fact, this is not what I experienced. And I was looking for the right definition, and I found one in Mars Design Reference Architecture 5.0 in Addendum 2nd from 2015. So it's only 7 years or 6 years old definition what Analogue mission simulation is. And it's, if you read this definition, it's quite obvious for us, but it's maybe extremely useful for any scientific papers or talking to the public what is the exact definition. So let's go and see how LUNARES is constructed. Here we have the historical hangar. It could withstand an atomic blast, but let's not try that. And this is where EVA area is located, and we have 400 tons of sands and basalts to simulate the terrain. And well, that's the main purpose of it. We are doing simulations in an environment that is isolated from the outside. Then, through the airload, we are going to research station, an architecture created from shipping containers and some geodesic domes. Okay, one dome in a central point, but this is the place where we are doing EVAs, and this is a place where people are living and working in an isolated environment. So no windows, only the environment we are imposing on them. This is how the EVA area look like inside, 300 meters. So that's really quite a lot. If you think about it, like Mars 500 in Moscow, it has only like 30 meters. Future ESA Luna facility will have 1,000 meters. So this is still quite a big space to conduct simulations in. And those simulations can include human-robotic collaboration, construction, simulation, and so on. So a lot of procedures, prototyping tools, also during mission. But yeah, I guess I will show it to you a bit closer when I show you the cameras, because now the crew is isolated there and we can see what they are doing. But when it comes to the habitat itself, there are like 7 modules, I guess, if I counted correctly, plus an airlock and the central module that we call an atrium, because this is a big, basically an outside with a dome, and from there you are going to different modules that all of them host different functions. So there is an electronic workshop, mechanical workshop, gym, operations, so a small office for 6 people, dormitory, so a capsule hotel, because everyone sleeps in the same module, kitchen, biolab, and hygiene module. So where we also investigate the use of gray water, collection of gray water. And it's all work in progress. So some things are changing, some things we are trying to update from mission to mission basis, but it's already something that we are really proud of. And instead of showing you pictures, I will simply show you what people are doing there now. And currently, it's Sunday. It's exactly the middle of the mission, and they will leave the habitat next week. And today is a free day, the only free day they have, so they can do anything and whatever. There was no briefings with us. This is an isolation, so there are no windows. There is a light schedule that slowly changes lights in morning and in the evening. But in case of an emergency, if I would like to communicate with them, I can play with them a bit. So let's see if I can do just that and inform them that we are watching. I don't know. Oh, and there's also a power surge, I see. We'll go to that in a second. Yeah, I will change lights to blue. Let's see what happened. Did it froze? Or I need to connect to lights again? That's a great question. Let's see. No, nothing happening. So this is something on my side. But yeah, having this ability to control lights. Oh yeah, exactly that. I need to refresh that. There is no communication on this end. But having this opportunity to control lighting conditions allows us to have the same length of the day throughout the whole year, regardless if it's winter, summer, etc. But also it allows us to create simulations with Mars length of the day, for example. Currently we are in the lunar mode because our researchers are gathering data from mission to mission to get the statistics going on. Oh yeah, I changed the lights a bit, because they are also using a regular light. Okay, so at least in the kitchen, someone has a different light. Okay. And he decided to ignore us. So yeah, so I will basically change to the normal lights, if I can. I thought that we will be able to see them waving at us, but this is their first interaction with someone outside. So maybe they decided to ignore us altogether. Huh? Well, we are only communicating with them once a day through audio communication, so no direct contact. Oh, I hope they will not stuck with the blue light for the rest of the mission. Yeah. That's one thing. Okay, so let's continue here, because people are working there, living there, and the only environment they have it's this space. So this is a perfect opportunity to study group dynamics, and this is exactly why such habitats exist. This is not a technological prototype of any sort when it comes to space architecture. It's a laboratory to isolate people and gather data. And this is how this data collection looks like when it comes to environment. And this is another thing that I can show you going live. So we have an online dashboard called Grafana. And yeah, I lost the connection once again. But I guess it's because I had to restart my PC and the VPN was disconnected. So oh no, I'm coming, yeah, it's coming back again. Okay, and here we see, for example, how much power they're using right now, what are the conditions in different modules, including temperature, humidity, light, even more temperature because it's ceiling and floor temperature. But not only, because there is also, for example, CO2 in dormitory, so where they are sleeping, because environmental telemetry is also as important as human telemetry. They all have some smart bands to monitor their basic life functions, but also sleep. And if we see what was happening for the last 7 days, if I am able to connect again, maybe I should simply open everything again, and that will be a lot easier. Yeah, we'll see how CO2 was building up during the night, and maybe that can translate also to how they slept. So there's a lot of data points to be collected and then analyzed. And since we are only 6 or 7, we rely on those partnerships and outside researchers that are willing to use this data and do studies with us. Okay. That also includes, for example, use of gray water. So they have like 2,000 liters, so 2 tons of water at the beginning of the mission, and they need to use it wisely. And they can, for example, gather gray water from the shower, from washing their hands, to, for example, flush the toilet. So this is a very terrestrial application. It's not very space oriented when it comes to technology, but it changes their way of thinking about the resources quite a lot. And people going there after, when they can daily see how much power they're using, how much water they're using, they're really changing their behavior on the daily basis. And when it comes to this data collection, those are like posts for social media, but in fact, there's a lot of spreadsheets with tons and tons of data points from each mission. And when you think about it, for example, water consumption. Last year we had 8 missions, and we were analyzing how much water they were using for different utilities. You see how much toilet used water. For example, this mission was not using gray water at all, so you can see how much toilet used water if they are not using a gray water loop in their mission. And for example, this mission was they were very ambitious when it comes to saving water. Also, they were very smelly. But that's an interesting data point here. Or nutrition, because we are working with universities that are interested in dental hygiene and digestive system. So we are measuring how much they're eating and what food they're eating. And I think you can see that we had a bodybuilder on 2 missions that ate a lot more calories than other people. And it's nicely represented in data. The same when it comes to sleep schedule, I mentioned that, or training, combined with this CO2 and temperature, really gives a lot of opportunities to study during one mission and multiple missions. And since 2017, when we started, we had so many good missions. We had Sian Proctor on one of our missions, so she flew to space last year on Inspiration 4. But this slide is not to brag about cool people that we were with here in LUNARES, but that from very beginning we had an ambition to have gender parity in our crews. So 100 participants, 50 women, 50 men, and you can see nationalities here, gender ratio, and this is something that our sociologists and psychologists are interested in, how this group dynamics works when there is a gender parity and when this ratio is shifted in one side or the other. More of that stuff. I need to catch a breath. Water would be great. No, I am getting better. Okay. This is a distribution of age. So we had participants that were close to 60 even. But as you can see, younger people, students are coming here, in the greater numbers, because this is, in fact, a very good initial starting point in analog missions. We see what Chilais is doing, what Alesipis is doing. Okay, I'm almost pronouncing that correctly. And those are expeditions to extreme environments. Here we have isolation. Thank you very much. We have controlled environment, isolation. This is a real isolation, but thankfully it's a very safe environment because we're in the middle of urban area. Any emergency personnel is close by. So this is a perfect starting point, and that's why probably students are coming here quite often. Delicious water, thank you. Okay. And during the pandemic, obviously there were very few missions. Look, we did 8 missions last year, but that's only because we had a partnership with our Ministry of Health, and we were in fact doing a COVID-related study when it comes to isolation with quarantine, and we could hand papers to people that you can travel around the world because you need to get to Poland for the COVID-related study. That was a nice touch for the last year, for example. And in 2017, one of our first missions, in fact, it was our third mission, we had Icarus-1 mission. It was the study with a disabled person. Here we have Marcin. He's an engineer that a few years back lost his both eyes, one hand, and most fingers in his right hand. So it's a major disability. But he's nicely adapted to his new life, obviously. And this was a study, what would happen to a regular mission to Mars if some sort of big disaster happens and someone is rendered disabled. So not only we had to redesign a habitat a bit to host a person that is blind, but also researchers were investigated what will happen to crew dynamics. And what happened is that everyone became more empathetic. So everyone had highs and lower lows when it comes to that. This study was, in fact, quite successful, and this also taught us that, like, the publications were published just now, so research takes time. This is the important part. And since then, there were several papers, including one in Science magazine about disability in space. So this is definitely a major win for us when it comes to having our science recognized. But it also allowed us to get more funding for that kind of research. So we received a Norwegian grant for 4 more analog missions with people with disabilities, and we'll do them in 2023. So they're all paid for when it comes to people participation, but obviously we are looking for partners to use data, do research, propose experiments, and this is like free for everyone interested to join. So this is a call to action, guys. And now I will go to different presentation. I still have time. Yes? Great. Because now I can tell you more about infrastructure. So you know what we are doing, how it looks like. You know that we are doing different research. There is a possibility for gathering different data, but we also try to think about running the habitat, like an institution. So we need to have some strategies for the future, both when it comes to what we want to represent on the local level, national level, and European level, as well as some plans how our infrastructure could develop if we get funding, for example, for that. So we had 19 missions, and we were getting a lot of feedback about the habitat, what to change, what was missing, what was not working, or what was great. That was also feedback, so that was also great. And then we could analyze that and create this roadmap that I will show you very briefly. Because now we were in this MVP. Okay, this is the Mars habitat that we first built. This is a render, but in fact it was built almost completely, and then we had to move everything to a different city. But there was an MVP that we created. Then we moved to PIWA, and we had testing when it comes to the structure, to operations, to personnel. There was a lot of things going on, so a lot of drama there as well. And this is part of every startup story, I guess. And for the future, we know that we would like to change some things based on our experiences. So a few years ago, this is how LUNARES looked like, and there was a different, for example, hygiene module. It was a commercially available container for that you could see, for example, on the construction sites. There was a problem with that when you wanted to be water saving person, because that clogged the whole system, and there was, there are some bad things happening and going out from the drains. Terrible thing. But that made us create a new hygiene module that we designed from the bottom up. And this is how we knew that we need to change different things. We knew that we have limited private space. There is almost no storage for your belongings. There were sanitary installation issues. There was low acoustic insulation back then. We had to up our procedures and instructions. Once again, storage space. We need to improve our EVA studies. So a lot of feedback, in fact, and this was very healthy. Obviously, it's very stressful to get a lot of feedback, but it was very healthy, and we was very motivated to improve. So we upgraded our storage space quite a lot. Yeah, and we changed the sanitary module. Okay, I will skip that because I would rather go to the strategy for the future. Okay, yeah, because this is where we are located in Poland, and we had to think about our strategy on the local scale, national scale, and the European scale, and what that means, what we should do, and what we would like to achieve. And we decided that we need to reorganize a bit. We also decided that since we are in the middle of urban area, we can do things differently because we have different opportunities. We don't have vast volcanoes or deserts to play with or to put people in that environment. We can isolate them, but we have a whole airport that is waiting to be utilized when it comes to, for example, training. And this is what we are thinking about. And also, since we are in the middle of the urban area, education is also a viable option. And then I will tell you how the infrastructure will change. Okay, so on the local scale, we applied for a Norwegian grant. For anyone that doesn't know what Norwegian grant is, Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein are participating in the open European market thanks to a series of grants that they are paying to developing European countries or economies. So Poland can apply for that, for example, and we received one of them. And thanks to that, we'll not only run those missions, but also we'll create an educational center in the next to our habitat. So we will have 2 hangars to play with. One will be a habitat, the other thing will be an educational center, but it could also double as a training center and mission control center. Also, we are partnering with local waste management facilities, and we are working on some off-grid architecture prototypes together. And so this is how this educational center will look like. Like this is LUNARES, this is the educational center, so this is hangar next door, and this is a perfect opportunity to not only introduce education to analog missions, but also use these facilities to have some new unique research capabilities. For example, planetarium. If you think about it, you can teach kids about the stars, but you can also put a 300-degree camera on your rover and have a very different teleoperations with it. So opportunities to play with. The construction will start in a few weeks, so that's good. Okay, and when it comes to our facilities, we really thought about redesigning the habitat to be a little bit more robust. So we wanted to be a research center instead of analog habitat per se. So we needed to be bigger, but it's somehow in opposition to the need of analog missions that now are doing like 4-people missions and so on. But for us as an architect, we want to test technologies as well. So together with our partners, we are slowly designing like update to our hygiene infrastructure. This is our hygiene module that is already existing, where we have our gray water installation, but then we would like to add a dedicated cultivation module that will utilize both fresh and gray water, and that means that we also need a laboratory with clean lab to have the whole package. So this is a bit robust, and this is a bit too much for a regular analog mission. But this is something that we definitely would like to investigate. And we are applying for funding to do that. When it comes to national role, we figure out that we could be a very good center for space medicine in Poland, and we can integrate with, and we can focus different universities to work with us, or focus, encourage different universities to work with us. The universities that are doing like a very small investigations, but here we can do it on a bigger scale together. This is exactly what we are doing with Pomeranian Medical University or University of Silesia. They are gathering data for some time now, like 10 missions. So they have 60 participants, data from 60 participants when it comes to their dental hygiene, diets, or group dynamics, and having those universities involved, now we can apply for more funding. Now their fundings are published, for example. Okay, so the analog habitat will be still there. We can always make it smaller. We can close some modules. But the research center for us is a lot more important because that means that we can do more different investigations, different studies, even in between missions. And also, this education center that I mentioned will be a great addition to the whole package that we can propose. Yeah, I will quickly skip to the potential future layout, and we could ask, and I can start like less formal part. So this is how we would like it to look like in the future, but we'll not change our habitat just yet because we have no funding. But this is a really robust structure when you see that there are those three greenhouses, facilities, the main area, the dedicated medical office, workshops, gym, storage, dormitory, kitchen with the diner and the food storage. That could support a very long missions, but also this is extensive for analog habitat, so we probably will have to close some areas off, or and we're still thinking how it will look like in the end. This was a proposal that was done some time ago. Nevertheless, the idea is this. We have some experience in doing those analog missions. It's a very different beast when you are organizing missions on month-to-month basis, rather than doing one mission a year. During one mission a year, you are really going into details for every single interesting point, and you can, for example, propose to your analog astronauts those interesting experiences when it comes to preparation phases. This is something that I always like to observe with other projects. And here, with our small team, we need to convey to people that they are a very valuable and vital data point on the course of space exploration. And maybe that's not as exciting, but this is scientifically very, very important. And we are definitely looking still for research partners to utilize our infrastructure to see. And in fact, we had a lot of great partners last year. We had people from SpaceX, we had people from ISU. Austrian Space Forum was testing some of their things for MED-20. Just yesterday, they mentioned that, in fact, that was a very good strategy, and they should think about doing that more. So there's already a growing number of entities that are working with us, and I think we are going to some culmination. No, not culmination. What? Well, not improvements, but there will be a point with enough partners to really have this staple of a research center. In fact, this is what is happening now. Before the conflict, so it's not like it was dictated by geopolitics, we approached our Polish delegation to ESA to see if there's opportunity for us to apply for ESA grant-based facility, so that we could be part of open innovation platform, and people could apply to ESA to fund their research. It was warmly received, so now we are preparing the paperwork. Maybe that will happen, maybe that will not happen, I don't know. Unfortunately, the geopolitical situation maybe helped us a bit, because I don't know if Mars 500 facility will be used by ESA or NASA in the near future. So that's our current status, and well, what else? Maybe some questions. Thank you very much. Maybe I can tell you about some issues, not only when it comes to infrastructure. I'm always amazed how, there's very few of us. I'm always amazed that in those student associations you have 40 people to work with. And I am like, that would be fun. And here we are really researchers that are trying to do their studies, and at the other hand, juggle with having service or a startup. So I know that I cannot study certain things because we are treating our Analogue astronauts as our partners, as our colleagues, but also there are also our clients. So for example, we cannot study boredom because we don't want them to be bored on board. But that's a very important part of space exploration and crew dynamics. So we hope that if we receive the right funding or the right programs in the future, we'll be able to do that. Since we are researchers, we know nothing about marketing or social media. There is almost no presence. We have no presence in any social media. Very little one, yeah. And this is definitely something that we need to improve, because that's definitely also impacts the number of our candidates. For example, I hear that you have 200 candidates for a mission. That's cool. I need 60 Analogue astronauts per year. That's very important and difficult thing to meet. So I definitely would like to hear your hints in that regard as well. So yeah.
In subject about astronaut calls, it's not just LUNARES. If any of you have astronaut calls, obviously I see you do, please do send them. We'll advertise them on the CHASM page, okay? So we will improve your social media presence. And yeah.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
The point was also that there's only like few of us, and we have growing community of Analogue astronauts. Like there was over 100 people there. Okay, I will go to some more current slide, like end state. And well, since we also think we are a business, we are trying not. People are always asking us if they can help, if they can use their time and do it for free, and we are not super. Like, I would love to offer them something, but still. We are not there yet that we could manage our community so they can help and well, live their own life, let's say. But there is a great potential there, and we are still not utilizing it, for example. So this is also a problem. I guess if I just had a few more people, everything would be fine. But this is also something that I'm learning just now, that you need to have more people to run things. Yeah.
Actually, do have a question for you. Do you think that you could make LUNARES so precise and with such high quality facility that you could develop experiments in it that could then be flown actually to space? So you would like recreate some of the conditions, actually work on them so well that, say not next year in 2 years, but say in 10 years, it could become a facility where there's so much research available that you could say, well, we have these commercial partners and they test in this analog apparatus to make it as close as you can to space conditions. And then once it's approved there, we can send it to space.
That's a very academic question. Let's say, okay, a bit business one, but when it comes to analog habitats, most of them they are designed to serve a certain purpose. This one was designed mostly to study group dynamics and space medicine. So people are the most important parts here. And when some partners are interested in working with us, so for example, DLR, so German Space Agency, was testing their SANS equipment. It was a preparation for AMIDI-20, but the same equipment was tested on our analog missions, AMIDI analog mission, and then it was sent to ISS to be used by astronauts. So the most valuable part here are people that are in the simulation, not the technology itself. And for example, MELISA program, so they are working on biological life support systems and different biological loops. They are not interested in our technology, how we are getting gray water. They're interested in that we have analog astronauts that are living in those isolate conditions, and there is a lot of data how they are spending their time, what they are eating. So humans here are the most viable part, and from my experience, people coming to LUNARES are obviously some are students that want to have that experience, some are researchers that are doing their investigations, but all of them, besides that they are paying for participating, they really also are super motivated and they enjoy being experimented on. In fact, this is part of the experience they are coming for. So the larger amount of experiments that we do on them, the happiest they are. So that's a very important note. But returning to your question, I don't know. Maybe there will be different analog habitats that we will be involved in the future. I don't know.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Just a more personal one. How did you come up? How did you get involved in LUNARES? Where did you come from?
Wonderful.
What was your story?
Wonderful. So. Why did they do it? So as I mentioned, I started a group called Space is More. This name only makes sense for architects or artists because less is more is a famous sentence said by Mies van der Rohe, and then architects was playing with that sentence. So modernists said less is more, postmodernists said less is bore. Then during the more commercial times, there was yes is more. Also, I'm a whore because I am selling out and designing stuff. And now there is a space is more as well. And so we were dealing with space architecture on a theoretical level. We are doing competitions. And during one competition, ESA Moon Challenge, in fact, Agata Mintis was architect there then. Main architect, I was doing something different, I don't remember what. The team that we were in, it was international team of students, won ESA Moon Challenge, how to return to the moon in a few years using current technology. It was in 2015. I guess we didn't get there yet, but it was a study and a competition that put us on the map. Then we were approached by Polish people working for ESA. So, for example, Agata Kołodziejczyk, that is running Analog Astronaut Training Center, I guess. And we started that from the ground up. So we were designing stuff. We were getting funding from the crowdfunding campaign to build our first habitat. And then our investor came into, contacted us that do not gather like those funds from crowdfunding sites. I will pay for everything because he's a wealthy man. And in fact, this is exactly what happened. He's part of our team, like he's our IT guy because he's a programmer. So he not only paid for everything, but if you saw this Grafana things, this is also the things that he did because for him it's a passion project. So it's a great team member with money and skills. But yeah, but that also means that we are not seeking for like investing rounds. This is something that we created together. We are, and that takes with, and this is one of the approaches you can go with. So we are slowly developing instead of having like the surge of money that we can spend and improve on the go. But yeah, that's a story. For this several years, people come and went. Team was changed, and the organization was refining. And it's yeah, so it's a huge story about it. Yeah. Cool, cool. Thank you for the
Coffee time?
Coffee time, yeah.
And more questions during the coffee.
We can talk during coffee. Yeah.